Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be done. After the playoff loss, everyone thought retirement was coming next. But now the story has flipped. The chances of him returning in 2026 are rising fast, and it might only be with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So what changed? And is one last Super Bowl run really about to happen? For weeks after the playoff loss, retirement felt like the natural conclusion. Rodgers is 42 years old. He has already built a Hall of Fame resume. He owns 4 MVP awards. He has a Super Bowl ring. He has nothing left to prove from an individual standpoint. When the season ended, the tone around him suggested reflection, not renewal. The body language was measured. The words were careful. Fans and analysts began preparing for a farewell press conference rather than a training camp return. But now the narrative is changing. Policero's report does not guarantee a comeback. It does something more powerful. It injects real momentum into the possibility. In the NFL, perception often becomes reality. When a respected insider says the odds are rising, it usually reflects conversations happening quietly behind the scenes. Front offices do not operate in isolation. Agents talk. Executives talk. Trusted reporters hear things long before official announcements are made. If Rodgers is truly leaning toward a return, the fact that Pittsburgh is viewed as the only destination is significant. That detail tells us this is not about extending a career for its own sake. This is not about a farewell tour in a random uniform. It is not about chasing stats or padding legacy numbers. If he plays, it will be with intention. It will be with a franchise positioned to compete immediately. The Steelers represent stability. Few organizations in professional sports have their reputation for continuity and discipline. They do not overreact, they do not rebuild recklessly, they develop identity and protect it. For a veteran quarterback who values structure and accountability, that environment matters. There is also the competitive factor. The Steelers' defense remains one of the league's most reliable units. A veteran quarterback stepping into a situation where he does not have to carry the entire burden changes everything. Instead of needing to win shootouts every week, Rodgers could manage games, strike surgically, and trust the defense to close. That formula is appealing for someone entering the final chapter of a career. The AFC landscape makes the decision even more intriguing. The conference is loaded with elite quarterbacks in their prime. Patrick Mahomes continues to anchor Kansas City. Josh Allen is in his physical peak. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and others form a generation that is only getting better. For Rodgers to re-enter that arena at 42, he would need confidence that his supporting cast is strong enough to absorb pressure. Pittsburgh offers that possibility, but this potential comeback is not just about football mechanics. It is about legacy. When a player of Rodgers' stature considers retirement, every move carries symbolic weight. Walking away after a playoff loss leaves a certain taste. Coming back for one more run carries risk. A poor season would invite criticism. An early playoff exit would amplify questions about whether he should have stayed retired. Great athletes are wired differently. They are often more motivated by unfinished business than by comfort. If Rodgers feels there is one more elite season inside him, the pull to compete becomes powerful. There is also the emotional element tied to how last season ended. Competitors rarely want their final snap to be a quiet postseason defeat. They want a stage. They want a moment. They want the type of send-off that feels earned. The fact that rumors of retirement were strong suggests he genuinely considered it. The fact that those rumors are now cooling suggests something has shifted internally. Perhaps the body still feels strong. Perhaps the off-season workouts have reminded him that he can still make every throw. Perhaps conversations with Pittsburgh's leadership have created a vision he finds compelling. When insiders begin to speak with confidence, it usually means there is more than speculation at play. For the Steelers, this potential partnership is massive. Quarterback uncertainty has hovered over the franchise in recent seasons. Stability at that position changes everything. Ticket demand rises. National television games increase. The locker room believes it has a real shot. Veterans push harder, knowing the window is open. Rodgers does not just bring talent, he brings gravity. Defenses prepare differently. Coordinators adjust schemes. Young receivers develop faster when catching passes from a precision passer who demands exact route depth and timing. The entire operation elevates when a future Hall of Famer enters the building. Of course, expectations would be immediate. This would not be a rebuilding year. This would not be a slow integration period. If Rodgers returns, the expectation would be clear: compete for a championship. Anything less would feel like a missed opportunity. That pressure can crush some players. Rodgers has lived inside that spotlight for nearly 2 decades. He understands how to navigate it. Another layer to consider is how this decision affects the broader quarterback market. If Rodgers is truly committed only to Pittsburgh, other teams waiting on his answer would pivot quickly. The draft board would shift. Free agents would sign elsewhere. Front offices crave clarity. Pelissero's report provides a measure of it. Still, nothing is official. Until Rodgers speaks publicly, the league will operate in anticipation mode. Every offseason workout clip will be analyzed. Every quote from Steelers executives will be dissected. Silence will be interpreted as strategy rather than uncertainty. The most compelling aspect of this storyline is how quickly it evolved. 1 week retirement seemed probable. The next week, the odds of return are climbing. That volatility mirrors Rodgers' career itself. He has always thrived in dramatic arcs. Doubt fuels him. Speculation energizes him. If he does return in 2026, it will not be to quietly participate. It will be to chase something tangible. The Steelers' culture may be the final piece that makes it all align. Fans in Pittsburgh are already imagining it. The stadium packed. The black and gold jerseys with number 12 stitched on the back. The first deep ball under the lights. The roar that follows. At the same time, skepticism remains fair. Age is undefeated. Recovery takes longer. Hits feel heavier. The AFC gauntlet is unforgiving. A single injury can derail everything. Rodgers would be betting that his experience and mental mastery can offset physical decline. That calculation is deeply personal. If Rodgers ultimately steps to the podium and announces his return, it will confirm that the competitive fire still burns intensely. If he chooses retirement instead, this surge in optimism will simply become another chapter in a fascinating offseason. Right now, the arrow points toward a comeback, and if that comeback happens in Pittsburgh, the ripple effect will touch every corner of the league. The AFC playoff picture will tighten. Divisional matchups will carry extra weight. Primetime broadcasts will center around one storyline. Can Aaron Rodgers, at 42, guide the Steelers to the top? That question alone makes the 2026 season feel closer already. Every training camp throw would be dissected. Every preseason snap would trend online. Opposing defensive coordinators would begin studying film months in advance, preparing for a quarterback who still sees the field faster than most players half his age. Veterans in the locker room would feel the urgency immediately. Younger players would understand that development time is over. The window would be now. For now, fans wait. Executives plan. Teammates monitor headlines. The retirement narrative has lost momentum. In its place stands possibility. If Rodgers chooses to return, it will not just be a comeback. It will be a statement that the fire still burns, and that one more run is worth the risk. The biggest storyline of the offseason is alive again.